Welcome back to the Light Skins podcast. My name is Ryan, joined by my co-host Bryant. Bryant, say what's up.
Hello, hello.
Hope you guys are doing good in this new year, 2023. Second video of 2023.
Yes, sir.
Gonna try to be a bit more consistent going forward. How's it going, Bryant?
It's going good. You?
Chilling. You see any basketball games today? I watched one.
I saw the NFL game, Packers against Lions.
Oh, R.I.P. Rodgers.
Yeah, might be his last season. We'll see.
In Green Bay, maybe.
No, in Green Bay. Yeah, in Green Bay. I mean, yeah.
I know Stephen A is gonna be mad. All right, for today's video, we gotta talk about the Pelicans a little bit. They are second or third in the West? Top three,
third seed.
regardless.
Yeah, third seed. Yeah.
They're the third seed, but things are gonna be a little tough for them because they're gonna be without Zion for at least a month. So we're gonna talk about that, how they can sustain their success without him. We're also gonna talk about the Lakers again, currently on a 4-game win streak. Well, 5-game actually.
5-game.
With the Kings win. Is there any validity to that? Also, we're going to talk about the scoring surge that's taken over the league over the past 2 months, pretty much all the 40-point, 50-point games, like 60 from Luka and 70 from Donovan, as to why it's happening and it would have happened in eras in the past. And for our special segment, we are going to talk about 3 teams, in our personal opinions, 3 teams from each conference that we had higher expectations for, but they're not living up to those higher expectations. Okay, Brian, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's get to it.
Let's dive right into it, starting with the Pelicans and Zion being out for 4 to 6 weeks. So, how do you think they're going to do, and what do you think they will have to do in order to stay in like the upper echelon of the West?
So far, I mean, without Zion, they're 0-4. So that's not really a good start for them. I mean, and Ingram is still out with that toe injury, so hopefully they can get him back. I do see them dropping, not maybe to the 4th or 5th seed, because without Zion for 3 weeks and we don't know the timetable on Ingram's injury, I think they will struggle. But they do have Niger Marshall, who's a decent playmaker. I don't know if you've seen him play recently, but he's actually been getting a lot of quality minutes. And he can score the ball pretty efficiently. And they got Trey Murphy, another great young scorer coming off the bench for them. So maybe that can help them with the scoring with Zion and Ingram out. But I do see them dropping maybe to the 4th seed without Zion for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I also see them dropping. I think it's possible that they drop even lower because the West is like really tight. Like between 3, the Pelicans, that they're at 3 right now, between 3 and 6, it's only 4 games, and the Warriors are at 6. Clippers are at 7. They're only 4 games behind the Pelicans. Trailblazers are at 8. They're only 4.5 games. Suns at 9. They're only 4.5 games behind the Pelicans as well. So, like, the West is, like, really, really tight compared to out East, where it's a bit further apart. So, their margin for error is a lot smaller. So, it is going to be tough. CJ is going to have to be a bit more efficient than he's been throughout this year. And in terms of scoring and also in terms of playmaking, because Zion, his playmaking is kind of underappreciated. He's been really good, like, passing out of double teams and hitting shooters like Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, etc. So
Isn't he averaging like 5 assists, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It might be like 4.7 or something.
Yeah.
But, there's going to be a lot more playmaking responsibility on CJ. So it's going to be tough. I do want to shout out their rookie though, Dyson Daniels. He's been pretty good. He's one of their best defenders, actually. Herb Jones is their best defender in the starting lineup, but off the bench, Dyson's been really good defensively, and he has a lot of potential as a playmaker, especially in the fast break, like Lonzo type of playmaking, Ben Simmons in his prime type of playmaking. So hopefully he'll get a lot more opportunity to showcase some of that with Zion being injured. And Jonas Valanciunas, I think they got to get him some more post touches as well because he's an efficient low post target.
What seeding do you see them dropping by? If you think they're gonna drop to the 5th or 6th seed?
I'll say the 6th seed.
Wow.
Actually, I'll say the 5th seed.
Yeah,
I think the Mavericks can jump over them. I don't know. I'm not confident in the Kings jumping over them or the Warriors either because Warriors are still without Curry.
Yeah, and he's still out with injury, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's a lot of Western Conference teams that are dealing with injuries. Like
True.
Clippers are always dealing with injuries. Phoenix, Book is still out. Like I think he's still multiple weeks away.
Yeah, with groin injury.
Yeah. So for that reason, it's like the Pelicans do have more of a margin of error because of the injuries that Western Conference teams are dealing with, but it still is going to be tough because I looked at their schedule. Out of their next 10 games, 7 of them are against like playoff caliber teams.
Ooh.
So it's going to be tough. But I mean, I think they're up for the challenge. A lot of their young guys have really like stepped up, like Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado. They're a deep team and they're young.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, we'll have to wait and find out. Moving on to the Lakers. On a 5-game winning streak after beating the Kings in a close game. So, I think it is more so them just beating up on trash teams.
Yeah.
The Kings that they just played, that was the best team that they played and won against. But before that, they beat Atlanta, and they're in a fucking slump.
Yeah.
Charlotte is trash. The win against Miami was impressive because Braun didn't play. But, I mean, Miami's offense is just abysmal, though.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with that, and LeBron's just been going into God mode. Like, he's been carrying the fuck out of the team in a lot of those games, a lot of 40-point performances. It's impressive to see, but it's not something that's really reassuring
sustainable.
Me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't think it is sustainable. I think he's going to tire out, especially like at this point of the season.
He's averaging 34 points in the past out of the 5 out of 6 games they've won. Averaging 34, which is unbelievable for his age.
Yeah, I know. It really is.
You know who's really impressed me? Fucking Thomas Bryant.
Thomas Bryant, yeah.
Wow, I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Very bright sign. That dude is being a beast down low. He's rebounding like crazy.
12.3 rebounds out of the 5 wins. That's the way he's averaging. That's crazy.
Thomas Bryant has turned up. Dennis Schroeder's had some big games too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good to get that type of value with a minimum contract.
I feel like in Laker Nation right now, it's kind of a little overreaction of the winning. Because like you said, they have beat up on trash teams. Like, the Hawks, they're abysmal. They're going through stuff. They're 16 in defense. The Hornets are 28th. The Heat, I'll give them credit. That was probably the best defensive team they played in 6. But the Kings are ranked 25th. So I don't really know what to take away from this winning streak.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get a real read on them at this point.
Yeah. A lot of the things that had me questioning this team going into it, they're still there even during the win streak. Like, this team still is shaky from outside shooting, and their wings are really small. Like, their perimeter is really small, so I still see that getting exploited, especially by like the top tier teams in the Western Conference. So, yeah, those problems are still there.
Agreed.
I want to see who they play next. Tomorrow they play Denver. Then they play Dallas. Then they play Philly. So that 3-game stretch will really be the test.
Denver, that's when we're going to get a better read on them. A really better read.
Pretty much like 3 MVP candidates that they're going to go against. So we'll see what their defense is going to look like. Oh, another thing I want to talk about related to this. Did you hear that Braun quote?
Which one?
I gotta find what he exactly said, but he said something like, "I'm done saying stuff to the media. They know what has to be done."
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Of talking about the
Man,
roster construction.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude, stop it.
That's
What
the
is he?
that's the shit. Like, I give LeBron the benefit of the doubt more often than not, but when he does shit like that, like passive aggressive shit like that, it pisses me off.
Yeah, it
Like,
makes it.
obviously he's alluding to those 2 draft picks that the Lakers have and him wanting them to make win now moves with those picks, but like we've talked about this many times, the Pacers
Yeah.
and Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, but they're smack dead in the middle of a playoff push.
Why would they even trade them right now? The Pacers are what, the 6th or 5th seed in the East?
Yeah, something like 6, yeah, 5, 6, 7, something like that. So
That's
the
crazy.
opportunity.
It's over. Who else? Okay, if you're the Lakers, say if you want to trade those 2 picks, who else could you get?
That's the thing,
I,
man. That's the thing. I don't think there's anybody like on a team that's
maybe
rebuilding that would.
maybe the Pistons. The Pistons, Bogan or Bohan. That's like the only
That would
trade.
probably be the best one.
That's really the only trade I see. I don't think he's worth 2 picks. No way, he's not
No,
worth
he's
2
not worth 2
picks.
picks. I don't see any. I'm looking at like teams that are definitely rebuilding, like Hornets. I don't think I want anybody from there. Rozier's contract's too big. Gordon Hayward is too unreliable.
The Zach LaVine trade, but that's a stretch.
Yeah, and the Bulls would have to be clearly giving up on Zach.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think the Raptors are gonna rebuild and offload like Siakam and Fred VanVleet, but I don't even think the Lakers would have a package that would be worth like Siakam.
Yeah. The Raptors would want way more than Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook.
The Rockets have Eric Gordon. I feel bad for Eric Gordon, man.
He's stuck,
bro,
he's stuck over there, man.
he is stuck over there.
What's
How
his
many
contract
years?
details? Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. What's his contract looking like?
Damn, he's got one more year. 19.5 million this year, 21 million next year.
I don't get why the Rockets just don't trade him. Like, can't you get like a quality pick for him? Probably.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, but that dude is in hell down there. He does not want to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know if you saw his comments like a week ago. He was like, "Oh, what improvements have you seen from the beginning of the season?" He's like, "There's been no improvements."
oh, Eric Gordon.
Yeah, he said that.
Shit, I don't fucking blame him.
Yeah, I was just, same. That team is so bad, Jesus.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the only teams. Like the Spurs don't have any win now veterans, I don't think.
Nope.
The Thunder, no, they don't have any veterans at all. And then everybody above them, they're gunning for a playoff spot. Like above them is the Lakers, the Wolves, the Jazz, and Suns. They're all looking to get better, not to sell.
Worse. Yeah.
So I don't think LeBron can just say that shit and just expect some magic trade to come out of Rob Pelinka's ass. Like the opportunity's gone, really.
If they were gonna make a trade, they had to do it the first week of the season. That was the time.
And also, like, is it even worth it, really, in my opinion? Because to just jeopardize this team's future entirely. Because even if they make a trade for, let's just say, Bojan Bogdanovic, I'm still not even 100% confident this team makes the play-in tournament, to be honest with you.
No. I would only trade it if the Pacers wanted to make that trade. That was the only trade I'd do. Because you get 2 quality pieces that can help the Lakers win right now.
Exactly. Like, those are the reasons that when Bron says that type of shit, you're like, they know it has to be done.
Yeah.
Bro, come on now.
There's a reason why this roster is the way it is. You have to play the part in it.
But I digress. Moving on. We can talk about the league as a whole and this influx of scoring outbursts. What do you think are the main reasons that like this scoring outburst has happened?
I'm kind of stuck in like 2 positions. I feel like now, like this era, the generation we're in, it's the way I feel like this is probably the highest played basketball right now than it's ever been for the NBA. I feel like the players nowadays are so much skillful compared to like the 90s or the 80s or the 2000s. So that's why I'm kind of at with that. But at the same time, there's like being no defense being played right now. I mean, Donovan Mitchell scored 71 against the Chicago Bulls. Chicago's not really a great team. Klay Thompson had 54 against the Hawks. The Hawks aren't really a great team. LeBron had 43 against the Hornets. They're not a great team. So I'm looking at some of these high scoring averages. I feel like it's the teams they're playing against that aren't really that good defensively or offensively. That's why they're scoring these numbers. But at the same time, I do feel like it's more so just skill compared to just defense, in my opinion. What about you?
Skill definitely has a lot to do with it because motherfuckers are going into like these basketball camps at 14, 15 years old. That was unheard of in like the 90s and shit. So that's a big thing. Like players are coming in with a lot more skill compared to in the 90s and early 2000s. I think the biggest thing is the rule changes. I think the biggest, rule change or just thing that the NBA has gravitated away from is the physicality.
Yeah.
Like, it's already hard to guard NBA offensive talents, but when you can't even blow on them without there being a foul called, like that kind of makes it fucking possible.
No hand checking. You can't even no hand checking, no nothing. You just have to try your best to stay in front of your opponent. It's impossible.
And also the leniency with the travels and carries.
Yeah.
I think it's at an all-time extreme this season.
And I don't even think the refs are doing it on purpose. I just think it became such a norm to them like that. So they're used to it.
Yes, man. But some of this shit is blatant though.
Yeah, it's bad. Let me ask you something though. When you look at this era, you can't really give me a lockdown defender, can you? Think about it. There's not really one lockdown defender in the league right now compared to the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. There's not really a lockdown defender in this era really, right now.
Because I also think the NBA is so switch heavy.
Yeah.
Nobody really goes into the game saying I'm gonna lock this person down. When that was pretty much the mindset of the 90s and early 2000s. Mm-hmm. People took a lot of pride in playing one-on-one defense. And
even the 80s, you had Sidney Moncrief, Michael Cooper.
Of course,
yeah, quality defenders.
Now the emphasis is on just being versatile and just having players that can switch on different positions, and there's not an emphasis on having one guy stop one guy, So there's obviously good defensive players and good one-on-one defenders, but I don't think there's just a stopper really in the NBA.
Probably the best defender right now, if I had to say, is probably Mikal Bridges, who isn't really having a great year this year. Marcus Smart, just because he was Defensive Player of the Year last year. But besides that, I can't really think of another one. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, we're just talking about perimeter guys.
Yeah, perimeter guys. I'm not talking about Giannis, because Giannis, he's a great defender, but he's more so a paint defender.
I'd say Drew Holiday. I think Drew Holiday is probably the best perimeter defender.
But that's really it when you think about it. It's not really another great perimeter defender. Kawhi can't defend at that high level. Same thing with PG. He can't defend at that high level.
Same thing with Jimmy. Jimmy kind of picks and chooses when he wants to lock in on defense because he has a lot of responsibility on the offensive end.
I'd say, would you say he's probably behind Drew, or would you say he's probably behind Mikal or someone like a Marcus Smart, or would you say he's right behind Drew Holiday?
Probably behind Mikal.
Mikal?
Because Mikal and Marcus Smart, they can literally invest all their time defensively,
Yeah, because they don't have to worry about the offense side of the ball.
Yeah. exactly.
Oh, and probably the most. Well, you probably know this, but probably the main reason why they're scoring these high averages is probably just the importance of the 3-point shot.
Oh
That
yeah,
that, that,
hundred
that that's
percent,
really it.
100%. Three ball is, they shoot like twice as many threes as they
Half of
did
their
10
shots are
years
three
ago.
attempts. Half of their
Yeah,
shots are
yeah,
three attempts.
exactly. 3-point movement is completely changing the game. There's so many times, like today, I was watching the Brooklyn Miami game,
That was a good game.
and it was a good game. There's a possession, I think Miami forced a turnover, and they had a 4-on-1, and Jimmy was driving, and he just kicked it out to Tyler Hero for a wing three, and he bricked it. But luckily, Jimmy got the rebound and got fouled and got free throws. But like four
See,
on one,
that should never happen in that situation.
that's ridiculous. And I think Kyrie of all people was the net that was back
Oh
on
my
defense.
god.
I might be mistaken, but that's like, come on, man. That's like fundamental basketball. There's no way.
Would you put more blame on Jimmy for not going up with it if it was Kyrie, or would you put more blame on the shooter on the perimeter?
To fucking everybody. Like, I don't think anybody really crashed to the fucking paint. I think everybody else just stayed outside. I gotta see the play again, but I just remember it was Tyler Hero taking the shot. But
I don't know if you remember that play like 2 or 3 years ago with the Nuggets, so when they had like a 4-on-1 or a 5-on-1 to win the game, and they settled for a wide contested three. I don't know if that
was that in the bubble. Or was that the year after the bubble?
That was the year after the bubble.
Oh, I do remember that.
That shit was so bad. That shit was so bad.
I do remember that shit. Oh my goodness.
They had a 5-on-1 basically, and they took a contested three. Everyone was on the perimeter. I think MPJ took the three.
That was our last headline. We can dive into our top segment of the day. The 3 teams from each conference that we think are underperforming based on our own expectations. What conference do you want to start out with?
We can go with the West first if you want. We'll just go one by one. So I'll say one, and you say one, and we'll do vice versa.
All right. I'll kick it off. So I'll start with the Wolves. I mean, when we did our preseason video, we both weren't really high on the Wolves. I had them, I think, as the 8th seed, I think.
I had them as the 9th seed.
Yeah, so we both are pretty low on them, but I remember a lot of people were saying like they're going to be a top 5 team in the West and shit. And I just didn't envision the Gobert trade being that big of a game changer. They were 10th in defensive rating. Or no, I'm sorry. They were 13th in defensive rating last year, but they're 15th in defensive rating this year. So I'm not going to put all of this on Rudy Gobert, but he obviously has not had the defensive impact that they anticipated. With that being said, I worried a lot more about this team offensively because Cat has never had to play with another big man in his entire career, especially one that has no spacing to him.
Yeah, basically.
So I just knew that was going to make life harder on Cat, and it has. His field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and points per game is all down from last season. He's been injured for the past month. I don't know when he's coming back, but it's obviously a big adjustment for him. So that's definitely a disappointing team. I didn't have high hopes for them, but I didn't think they'd be this bad to the point where they are 10th or 11th. 11th in the Western Conference, behind the fucking Jazz.
Agreed.
Were they one of your teams, or did you go with somebody else?
No, they were one of my teams. I had them too.
Oh, okay. Anything else you want to say?
Nah, I mean, just basically the same shit you said. I mean, D'Lo's been inconsistent. That's really been... I thought he's going to play a bigger role this year, but same thing as last year. Still inconsistent.
Yeah, I think he has an expiring contract. This probably is his last year. If it's an expiring contract, it's probably his last year in Minnesota. I don't see them bringing him back.
No way. And it's pretty crazy because Anthony Edwards is having a solid year, but you're hearing nothing out of him from Minnesota because they're not winning.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like he's having a great year this year. 23, 6, and 4, but there's no buzz around him.
No, they had the 7th seed last year, and they pushed the Grizzlies to a really competitive first round series. That was one of the best series to watch.
But the Wolves show, in my opinion, they should have won that series. They had a 225-point leads. Remember in one
Yeah,
game, that
yeah,
was
it's
unbelievable.
ridiculous. I mean, I still think this team will get into the play-in tournament just because the Jazz are the 10 seed right now, and they're still playing well. They're still competing their ass off, but they're falling.
You know what I'd say?
What?
I'd give the Lakers a bad chance to make the play in the Wolves.
What? Wow.
I would, because they don't. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think LeBron can carry them into the play in. I really believe that. I mean, because what, the Lakers are the 12th seed, right?
Yeah.
And the Wolves are the 11th seed, or
Yeah, 11.
yeah. I mean, so they're neck and neck basically.
They're a half game in front.
That's what I'm saying. I can see the Lakers passing them.
Yeah, and Anthony Davis should be coming back.
Yeah, soon, hopefully soon. My next team, I had Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah, I had Phoenix. I had them as my seeding for this year. I had them as a 3rd seed, but they're the 7th seed this year. And then a lot of concerns we had from the start. Well, for me at least, I said that CP3, his age was going to show up this year, and like it's kind of come to true a little bit. He's one thing I noticed with CP3 is he'll have one good game. He'll have like a 20-12 game, and then the other game he'll have like a 8-5 game. So his play has been inconsistent, and with that he has been out with injury for some games. And then on top of that, you got D-Book out with that groin injury still, like you mentioned earlier. And we already knew the tension between DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams. In my opinion, I don't think he wants to be there. They just gave him that contract because they had to. They didn't want to lose him for anything. So, and there's a lot of turmoil with that team. I don't know if I can see them making the. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs this year.
Sheesh. That's crazy.
I don't really. I don't. They have. I just don't see enough. I don't see enough of them that much. I can't. I just can't see them. Because Cam Johnson is still out, right?
Yep.
And we don't know when D-Book is going to come back. So, I mean, they don't really have another scorer like that. CP3 can't give you 30 points. There's not really anyone off the bench for the Suns that can score like that. So I don't really see any bright spots coming up for them. Do you?
I was contemplating putting them in my list, but I opted for another team. But
Okay.
But I was contemplating them for all the reasons you pretty much said. Like, especially when Booker went down, I was looking for Aiden to be a bit more aggressive and being a bit more of a focal point of the offense, but that hasn't been the case for whatever reason. If you want to attribute to his lack of aggression or Monty Williams' usage of him, whatever it is, he's a former number 1 pick over Luka, over Shea, and countless other names. And he's not a bust, obviously, but there's a lot being left to be desired. And I felt like this was going to be the prime time for him to step into that number 1 pick potential, and that just has not been the case.
He has his bright moments. He'll have a couple good games, but then he'll revert back to his old self.
Yeah.
That's the bad part.
The Booker injury was going to be really, really hard to overcome because they have a lack of scoring options. Obviously, with CP not being able to be a scoring option at this point in his career, Cam Johnson being out, there's nobody on the bench.
No Jay Crowder.
Jay Crowder is just chilling with his fucking socks off, laying in his couch. Cam Payne is their fucking 6th man right now. And Cam Payne's cool, but like
he's solid.
He'd obviously prefer somebody else in that role, you know. But I mean, they're still really solid defensively because Aiden's a pretty solid paint presence. They got Mikal out there, and I think they're just really well coached on the defensive end. Monty has always had a solid defensive scheme.
That's true.
But yeah, the depth has really caused a lot of concern for them, especially with these injuries.
If would you try and make a trade, or would you think you just go with this team for the whole season?
Mm,
If
ah
I'm not
man,
mistaken, they could trade Da, right? They could trade him. I
I think
think.
January 15th is the point where a lot of these players that sign their contracts, I think at that point that's when they can get traded. Shit, man, I don't really know if there's like one specific thing that the Suns need to trade for to significantly improve this team, but maybe they just need to get Aiden out of there just for like team morale and chemistry.
DeAndre in for Zach Levine. Imagine
Ooh.
that would I would that's just a toss up. I don't see that at all. I would make no.
For the Bulls,
Yeah, the Bulls would. I think.
but they still have Vucevic.
Well, I mean, he's an expiring contract this year,
Yeah.
anyways.
I don't know, man. I don't know if there's a clear trade for the Suns to make, but we got to monitor these rumors the closer we get to the deadline.
Yeah.
Though. I'll say my next team.
All right.
I have the Warriors.
Mm.
I don't have that many reasons. I think the big thing is just me personally. I was expecting a lot of improvement from their three young guys. Besides Poole, I was expecting improvement from Kuminga, Moody, and Wiseman. And for whatever reason, Kerr's decided that Kuminga is not going to be a consistent part of the rotation. Same with Moody and James Wiseman's in the G League. So when I had the Warriors, I think as a 2 or 3 seed, I was expecting those guys to take a lot more responsibility and be a lot more impactful for this team, and they just it just has not been the case for them, honestly.
And plus, would you put some of that on Clay too, just because he has struggled throughout the year?
Clay struggled, but I think he's gotten better.
No, yeah, he's gotten
throughout
better
the
recently. Yeah.
I mean, the Steph Curry injury is big. Like,
Yeah,
you can't replace Steph Curry. His impact on the floor is it's irreplaceable. Jordan Poole's been kind of inefficient. I think the most consistent player for them has been Wiggins, honestly.
Yeah.
And Draymond's actually not having that bad of a season either.
What's his stats?
8, 7, and 7.
Oh, okay.
50
Yeah,
from
that's
the field.
solid.
That's
That's
pretty much
solid.
what you can expect from Draymond.
Yeah.
But like the bench is pretty depleted, given that Poole has to start now, so they don't really have any bench scoring anymore.
He's been really good starting for them, though.
Yeah, he has
He's
been.
been really.
He has been. But like the big thing that gave the Warriors their success was being able to have somebody like Poole off the bench. You know.
Yeah, you can't take that away from the bench. They don't really have another scorer coming off that bench.
Not at all. So yeah, that's why they've disappointed me. I mean, with that being said, I think they're like 5th or 6th in the West, so they're
Not bad.
staying afloat until Curry gets back.
All right. Can I say my next team?
Yeah.
This might shock you.
Wait, you said the Wolves and then the Suns, right? So this is your last team, okay.
Yeah, I had the Lakers. So I had them projected for my standings as the 8th seed. They're the 12th seed right now. And mainly, I'm going to put it on the injuries because they have had horrible luck on the injuries, like we kind of expected for this year. With Damian Jones has been out with injury. JTA's been out basically the whole season with injury. And then you got AD with the injury. And we already knew coming in that they weren't going to really have a lack, like they weren't going to have any shooting. But it was very noticeable the first couple of games that this team was going to be shooting poorly from the 3. So I should have expected that, but I just had higher hopes for the Lakers this year, especially with Westbrook and LeBron and AD, thinking they'd all be healthy. But, I mean, yeah, not much to really say. I thought they were going to do better this year, really. But they're the 12th seed right now.
Yeah, I had no such hopes.
Really?
No, I had no such hopes whatsoever, man. I projected them, I think, the 10 seed. I didn't expect them to make the playoffs.
Yeah. You didn't have them in the playoffs. I had them in the 8th seed. I thought they were gonna be way better.
I didn't
Really.
think it would look as ugly as it did to start off the year, but I did have them missing the playoffs. So I mean, they're pretty much hitting the expectations I had for them.
Yeah, you hit on the money. I had, but the first like 10 games, everyone was healthy, and they were like 2-7 or 3-7 or 2-8 and 3-7. That's just, I feel like that's what set them back. If they had like a decent start to the season, they would be afloat right now. I think they'd be in the play-in if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, probably. I mean, 2 or 3 games can literally swing everything for you in the West
Yeah.
because it's so tight. Currently, they're just a game behind
That's
the
what
10 seed. I mean, they're still only 4 games behind the 6 seed, which would be a playoff spot. So like, it still like, given that they're the 12th seed, anything can fucking happen in the West right now because it's so jam packed.
True.
For my last Western Conference team, it's the other team in LA.
Oh, interesting.
It's the Clippers. They're both of our fucking championship picks, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking Kawhi was off for a year and a half. We saw the pictures of him looking like the Hulk.
Yeah. Thunder legs.
Thunder legs.
Thunder thighs.
I thought the man was gonna come back on demon timing, and I thought he was gonna need very little load management, and neither has been true.
Yeah.
This is probably the most load management he's gotten, and in his games back, he hasn't consistently looked impressive. There's been a game here and there where you'll see like the shades of the old Kawhi, but it's not there consistently. Like his bursts, his explosiveness, it's not there on a consistent basis. So that's been worrying. Paul George also been in and out of the rotation. And even with all of that, the Clippers are still in the playoff picture because Ty Lue deserves a lot more credit, man. He's keeping this ragtag Clippers team together. This ragtag ass Clippers team with superstars in and out of the rotation. John Wall and Reggie Jackson holding down the front at the point guard position. He's keeping it together, bro.
Imagine if Tyronn Lue was with the Lakers.
Oh, man. Oh, man, night and day.
That would change the Lakers, dude.
Ty Lue's doing a really good job, man. Mainly the defense. They're 7th in defensive rating, and they don't even have the most defensive personnel out there. Like,
no,
Zubac is not a rim protector per se, but he gets the most out of him. Marcus Morris is a solid defender. John Wall isn't the defender he was in the past. Mann is a pretty good defender. He competes out there, but Nick Batum is older. Norman Powell.
He is long though. He is long. Nick Batum.
He's got a good length to pause, but the point is they don't have the most defensive potential out there, especially with PG and Kawhi being out. But he's kept his team afloat because of their razor sharp defense while being 28th in offensive rating. But yeah, shout out to Ty Lue, man. Oh yeah, so that's all of our Western Conference teams. We can move out east, and you can start us out there.
I'm pretty sure you have this team. I got the Raptors. They were the most overrated team last year, Ryan. They were fugazi. Oh my god, this is the most fugazi team of it. Like last year, that was so they got so lucky. I don't know how they made the playoffs, but I mean, Fred VanVleet is having a down year. Nick Nurse, in my opinion, he's not really an X and O's coach. He's more of a player coach, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not really the coach you want for this team. When I look at this Raptors team, they don't really have shooters on their team. Fred VanVleet isn't really shooting that good percentage from 3. Same thing with Gary Trent Jr. They don't have a big. When I look, they don't have a big. They only have Chris Boucher, Scotty Barnes, and then I think Siakam plays the 5 sometime, doesn't he? if I'm not
I think
mistaken.
he's pretty much their starting center, bro.
That and he's like what 6'9", 6'8"?
Yeah.
That's not. I don't know what they're doing over there in with the Raptors. I think like we talked last episode. I think they should really look into trading Siakam, Van Fleet, and Gary Trent Jr. and just build around OG and Scotty Barnes. That's really what I do. But I had the Raptors coming in as my 8th seed this year. They're the 12th seed, Ryan. I was not expecting to be this bad.
I think I had them as my 9.
Yeah, you were right behind. Yeah, I remember. I had them better. Well, I had the Knicks at the 11th seed. I thought the Raptors were going to do better than the Knicks this year. I was totally mistaken by that.
Oh, where's my... oh, here we go. I want to see what standings I had. Yeah, I had the Knicks behind them, too. I had the Knicks at 10 and the Raptors at 9.
Did you expect the Raptors to be this bad this year?
No,
I didn't.
Not this bad. I thought they'd be in the hunt for, like, a serious play-in spot.
Yeah.
I didn't think they'd be this bad.
12 seed, dude.
I think this is a case of them seeing that Siakam at the 5 and OG and Scotty, like, as this hella versatile front court where they're all, like, 6'8" and can switch and shit. I think they saw that was successful last year. And it was the first year that any team had saw it, so they saw some success, and I think teams have kind of caught on to it this year.
Easily, yes.
You're right about their shooting. They're 30th in 3-point percentage.
Horrible.
Fred VanVleet's been really inefficient. He's shooting 38% from the field. Scotty Barnes is kind of been underwhelming.
But he doesn't shoot threes either. Scotty Barnes does not shoot threes at all.
It's not even about his shooting. I was just looking for more of an impact from him as a whole. Like coming off winning Rookie of the Year. I don't know. He's just not had that same impact really.
He's still gonna step back this year, but I don't know if I could blame that on him. I put the more so the blame on the coach. I'm not putting him in more positions for him to have more of an impact on the offensive side of the ball. I put that more so on the coach, Nick Nurse.
Yeah, honestly, I feel that. I feel this might be a problem with this team. Like, they don't have that many players firmly entrenched in a role. Because you have Pascal Siakam, who's having a career year, and his playmaking's taken off. That kind of takes away from what Fred VanVleet's able to do as an on-ball player, and that might take him out of a rhythm where he's trying to be more of a catch-and-shoot guy. He's taking 9 threes per game.
Unbelievable. What?
But I feel like he's kind of just uncomfortable with his offensive role this year. I mean, he kind of talked about it in the JJ Redick podcast, which I always recommend to you, but you never watch.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not a big fan of JJ Redick when it comes to the podcast. I can't listen to that man.
Bro, he has good points.
He does, but I mean, he hasn't really asked, like, he doesn't go into
That's true.
depth.
He's not really critical of the guys he has. Like, the Ben Simmons one, he didn't ask him any hard-hitting questions at all. But yeah.
That's why I can't stand that dude. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Going back to this team, the Raptors are pretty disappointing, but given that I had them missing the playoffs, I didn't have them in my list.
Alright. So who you got on the east side?
My first team I'll say is your team, Bryant.
Oh shit. I already know where this
South
is going.
Beach, man. South Beach, bro. Dude. Their offense is fucking trash.
I know.
Absolutely trash, man. Absolutely fucking trash. It helps that I watched them today, too. Yeah, what's up?
You know what's the sad part? 7 players on that team is scoring double digits in points. That's the sad part. And then, aren't they last in scoring? How does that make sense to me? What? They got 7 players scoring double digits in points, but they're last in scoring? Make that make sense to me, Ryan.
Hey, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. They're 28th in pace, so they're pretty much
but they were 28 last year, and they were first seed last year. They were 28th last year in pace. I checked. Something's not clicking.
Another thing,
Oh, I know. Yeah.
their role players cannot shoot. Like the guys that were shooting for them from three last year, guys like Gabe Vincent, Max Struess,
Caleb Martin.
Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin's shooting pretty decent this year, but like
Oh,
Max Struess is shooting 34% on 8 threes, down from
Jesus.
last year he shot 41%, so he's down to 34. Gabe Vincent is shooting 29% from three, 4.5 per game, 4.5 attempts per game. Oladipo shooting 32% is fine because he's not really a shooter. He's a slasher, pretty much. Kyle Lowry, 34% from three, and Duncan Robinson doesn't even play for them. So yeah, this team cannot shoot. They don't have a lot of spacing, so their offense is kind of clunky. They don't get a lot of looks and like easy looks in the fast break because they play such a slow pace. So
I have a solution. I have a solution to what Miami can do. And hear me out.
okay.
What's the one thing Miami needs besides everything you just said?
Besides all of that,
Yes.
besides a shooter,
What's one thing that they need? They need size. They don't have any size.
Bam is undersized at center.
Bam is playing the center, and he's 6'8", 6'9".
But he's
forward,
done it his entire career though.
Yeah, but his game more exposed this year. And then on the bench they have Dwayne Dedman.
Yeah.
So come on. Now hear me out. Would you make a trade for Miles Turner? That would fill that need. You can have Bam play at the 4 or have them switch. So Bam at the 4 and Miles Turner at the 5. You can easily make a trade.
I don't think you can easily make a trade for Miles Turner.
No.
For similar reasons that we said the Lakers can't. The Pacers are looking to make the playoffs.
I'm trying to find hope for my team. It's not looking too good.
You can look around the league. What centers are available?
Because that's what they need. They need a center. They need someone that can hold down the front court.
Unless you want Jakob Pertl in San Antonio.
No, that wouldn't be bad though. He's actually a quality center. He does his role.
But I don't think it would fit next to Bam because they both can't space the floor really.
That's a good point. I do think they will get. I don't see them being the 8th seed. I see them being more like a 5th or 6th seed. So I see them making the playoffs. So I still have them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they'll make the playoffs too. Like they are 9-4, or 9-5 now in their last 14. Given that they lost to Brooklyn today.
Yeah.
So they're on a kind of they hit like a winning part of their schedule. They're also being, like the Lakers, they're being held back by their horrible start.
Yeah.
But yeah, this team is just really underwhelmed me because their conference finals appearance last year, and they haven't really lost anybody from that team.
Nope, this is same team as last year, Ryan. Same team. And they re-signed Oladipo in the offseason.
Yeah.
This team should not be where it's at right now.
Did you have them on your list?
Who?
The Heat.
Yeah, I had the Heat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say, or?
Nah, basically, yeah, everything you just said.
Alright. Yeah, we can move on then to your next team.
This is gonna shock you. I had Detroit. I had them as my 10th seed this year. And they're the 15th seed. 11-32. I really thought them picking up Jaden Ivory and Jalen Duren, I thought that was going to really be a big help for them. And you had Sadiq Bey, who's a great scorer. And then you got Bogan, who is a solid scorer. But I just don't know what went wrong with this team. I mean, K got injured. I know K got injured.
I don't really know what else you can expect from them with the Cade injury, bro.
I feel like they have so much potential on that team. Like I did not see them being the 15th seed. I had the Pacers as my 15th seed, Brian. The Pacers.
Well, I mean, yeah, the Pacers. I had them as my 14th seed. Like nobody expected this from them.
Yeah, but that's who I have. I have the Pistons, man. I mean, I just disappointment to say the least.
That's understandable, but like the Cade injury, there's not much they can do from that. Like he's their franchise player. Everything was gonna go through them, or everything was gonna go through him, and they
Yeah,
lost that.
basically, he was gonna run the offense. But yeah, that's who I have as my third team, the Pistons. Not really much to say, just disappointment to say the least.
I will say I'm kind of disappointed in Sadiq Bey's play. He hasn't really taken a step forward this year.
Yeah, it's not the same. Well, he had a great year last year, but it wasn't contributing to wins. So
Yeah, he had a fucking 50-point game last year.
I that was the quietest 50-point game. No one talked about it. No one talked about that game.
Oh man, yeah. This team has a mixture of young guys that are like quality for them, and some that are kind of underwhelming. Like Killian Hayes is
He has
not. I don't
he
know,
can
man.
have his moments, but then he just goes back down to earth,
Yeah,
dude. He has his moments though, man.
really, really inconsistent. This was going to be the time for him to really establish himself in this league, because Cade's injury. Like this would have
Yup.
been the time, like the prime opportunity for him to step up, and just hasn't done so, man.
Mm-mm.
And I think next year is the last year of his rookie contract, so the time for him to shape up is now, really. But with that being said, Jaden Ivey's been really good, one of the top rookies,
Mm-hmm.
and Jalen Duren's looked pretty good too. But
They have a lot of potential on this team.
yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of potential.
So next year with Cade healthy and Ivy and Duren with another year of experience, things will be looking up.
Hopefully. Who's your third team?
My third team. Oh, I only said two of my teams. I mean, I only said one of my team. I still have two left.
Oh, my bad.
Um, we'll start out with this one might surprise you actually. The Hornets.
What? Oh, yeah.
I mainly say this just because like for 2 years in a row, like they got the 10 seed. They were in the play-in tournament these past 2 years, and they're really good. They're one of my favorite teams to watch because they're so fucking entertaining. Like LaMelo and Miles Bridges, that connection was really electric. They were really fun to watch, and it was looking like this team was next up in the Eastern Conference. And then Miles Bridges decides he wants to be an abuser in the offseason. And then LaMelo had two injuries early on. Gordon Hayward, who's always injured, injuries followed him as well. There's like a lot of shit that this team can't really control that's happened to them, but they're just really underwhelming given the fact that they were so fun to watch these past 2 years, and the fact that they were the 10 seed in the play-in tournament for 2 years in a row, and they have such a young team. You'd expect them to take the next step, but because of injuries and Miles Bridges being a menace, they've taken a step back.
Let me ask you something. I think Melo has one more year on his rookie contract. Do you see him making the playoffs with this team next year?
No, I don't.
Or do you think
I don't
no?
see it, man. I don't, because is Miles Bridges gonna fucking be back? Like, probably. I don't know. I would
Probably.
say not.
It's up in the air. It's up in the air.
Even with that, like, the East got better.
Yeah.
Miles Bridges won't have played basketball for an entire year. The team's going to be limited in terms of what they can do in free agency because they gave fucking Jordan gave Terry Rozier $23 million over 4 years. I don't understand.
What is he?
I don't understand.
I'll try to get rid of that contract in a hurry.
That's going to be really hard to do.
But yeah, they can't though. They can't.
And they have Gordon Hayward on one more year of making $30 million.
Jesus.
So there's pretty much nothing that they can do in free agency because of those two.
Do you think Melo's gonna leave?
I don't think he's gonna leave because
really,
no,
wow.
Rookies don't really turn down their first
Max
extensions.
contracts. Yeah,
they pretty much just take the money. Like I wouldn't blame them, you know. So I don't think he'd leave. But I think once he signs that contract and there's like 2 more years of mediocrity, then he'll start putting pressure on the front offices to do something, you know.
Would you have him in your seating this year?
I think I had them like 12th, or I had them 13th because we recorded it after Miles Bridges did his shit. So
Yeah.
we pretty much knew.
And then would be who's your last team?
My last team is the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, I had them. I had them as well.
Yeah, we talked about them last episode.
Yeah.
They have so much talent, but there's something that's just not clicking for them. I think the Bogdanovich injury held them back early on because he was like, currently speaking, he's their only like high volume 3-point shooter that's shooting well from three, because he's shooting 40% on 8 attempts per game, but he's only played 16 games. Trey's only shooting 30% from three. So he's having problems from out there. DeJounte isn't shooting bad from out there. 35 is solid for DeJounte, but I feel like he's had to shoot 6 threes per game. That's what he's averaging. He's had to do that to adhere to Trey because he has to play more off ball. So he has to take a tad bit more threes than he'd probably like to. And then John Collins.
Yeah, he's been a big disappointment this year. I thought he was going to take a step up this year compared to last year.
Yeah, I thought having like another pick and roll partner in DeJounte was going to kind of unleash him, like him and Clint. But
do you think that this team got too much success in the beginning? Because we had that first year in the bubble. Run? Yeah, the conference finals. Do you think they had too much success in the beginning? Because these last 2 years, they have not lived up to expectations. They got bounced out in the first round last year against Miami in 5 games, if I'm not mistaken. And then this year's not looking too pretty for them either.
I mean, if we're being honest, that conference finals run.
Yeah,
I won't say it was. I won't say it was fluky, but like. They faced the Knicks. The Knicks are the Knicks. Yeah. And then they ran into Ben Simmons, and he just completely shit the bed when that 76ers team was obviously more talented than that Hawks team. They should have beat them in 6 or 7, whatever. They should have beat them. So I won't say it was fluky, but it was a little Mickey Mousey. You know?
There you go.
People forget details like that, so we just see the Hawks made the conference finals 2 years ago. What the fuck is going on? But like,
and they beat Milwaukee in the first game. People were going crazy.
They did. They definitely did. But I mean, Trae Young is still going to be a defensive liability.
Yeah.
The John Collins thing is not helping out, and then like after Trae and DeJounte, there isn't like another guy that you can confidently say is a playmaker for this team that's going to run the offense. Like for example, the Warriors, they have a lot in the history of their run. They've had a lot of people that are good playmakers, solid playmakers, not just their stars. Like Iguodala as a playmaker. Fucking
what about
Nemanja Bjelica last year.
There you go, yeah.
Like they had guys like that made their offense run a lot smoothly. So it's funny that this Hawks team has 2 high-level playmaking point guards, but they're like low in assists per game because they don't have that many guys that have that playmaking aspect to their game, you know.
Do you think that the Hawks? Nah, I was gonna say it's too soon for them to blow it up. I was gonna say because they just got DeJounte. Yeah,
traded 5 picks for DeJounte. So
it's gonna be interesting though what they do in the offseason.
They can't blow it up. They gotta retool somehow.
Would you fire Nate McMillan?
Sheesh, man. I mean, yeah, I probably would. I probably would. Honestly,
damn.
something's got to change. I was gonna say like the Trae Young trade rumor shit. I guess there's some validity to it, but like they just gave up so many picks for DeJounte. They had to make that work with Trae somehow.
I do feel like you could get a lot from Trae Young if you wanted to trade him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you definitely could.
And you could just build around DeJounte and maybe some other quality players. I mean, if Trae Young would want to get traded, you know?
Yeah. Maybe they can wait and see on like their young guys like AJ Griffin and Onyeka, but they don't have that much time to wait because DeJounte's going to get an extension sooner rather than later. They
Yeah.
already gave DeAndre Hunter his money. And because Trey's on a fucking max and John Collins on something close to a max. So, not like they're going to have a lot of time or opportunity in free agency to make a shakeup. They gave up a lot of draft capital, so I don't really see a clear avenue for them improving this team. It's probably going to have to be through coaching, through a coaching shift.
Do you think the Hawks made do you think they gave up too much for DeJounte, or do you think it was worth it?
They gave up a lot.
I know they did. I mean, you were shocked when what they gave.
I mean, yeah, I think it is too much because that's just an all-star. Like, I love DeJounte. DeJounte is always been a player I've loved. But, like, at the end of the day, he's just an all-star, you know? Like, I feel like that many draft picks, you reserve that for, like, an all-NBA talent.
True.
That is a lot.
How much they give up for Rudy Gobert 4, right?
No, it was definitely 5.
Oh, man.
And all those role players.
Yeah, I forgot. They 2 or 3 role players. Jesus.
All right, that concludes it. We can get to our pick'em games.
I don't even know who's in the lead anymore. I think I'm still in the lead.
We're gonna have to do a lot of checking. So the first one is Lakers Nuggets. I have the Nuggets.
I have the Nuggets as well.
Okay, don't really have to talk about a lot there. Suns versus Warriors.
That's a tough one for me. I gotta go with Phoenix.
Oh, I went with the Warriors.
I'm going with Phoenix.
I mean, if Ayton can have a big time game against Kevon Looney, but I don't think that's something I can rely on though.
Yeah.
Mavs versus Clippers.
I got the Clips.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
What?
Tyronn Lue's gonna find a way to stop Luka.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
But I don't think they have enough offense to keep up with them though.
Luka's only a one-man show though, so I'm not really worried about anyone else, to be honest, besides him.
I mean, if he gets his shooters open, they can get hot.
That's a good point, but we'll see.
Pacers Knicks.
I got Pacers.
Oh, I took the Knicks on this one.
Wow.
Yeah, I took the Knicks. The Knicks have quietly been really good recently.
No, the Knicks have been good, but I feel like the Pacers have more versatile weapons compared to the Knicks.
I'd have to disagree on that one, man.
Interesting.
Randall, Brunson, and Barrett. Like, all these guys.
Barrett's kind of been inconsistent. I don't trust in him that much because he's kind of been inconsistent. I trust in Brunson and Randall more than Barrett.
Fair enough. Celtics Nets.
Oh. I gotta go with the Nets, cuz.
Oh, shit.
You know why I got Kyrie? Oh, wait. KD went out with injury.
Yes, he did. I don't think there's a timetable on that yet.
I'm gonna go still with the Nets. I think they'll still pull it out.
This is a big game because the fucking Celtics humbled the fuck out of the Nets last year.
And the first time they played this year.
Oh, this is the first game?
No, this is the second game. I'm talking about the first time they played this year.
Oh, yeah.
The Celtics beat their ass.
Yeah, I don't see anything changing. I got the Celtics here.
I don't blame you.
Oh, man, yeah, that KD injury is big, bro, for the Nets.
Yeah.
Hopefully
he comes back, man.
He was entering the MVP discussion for sure.
Oh no, he was in there. He was balling. I hope he plays in the All-Star game. Damn, these past 2 years he's been down with injury.
Real quick, what is your MVP top 3?
Top 3? Mm-hmm. KD, Luka. See, between Giannis and Jokic, I'm gonna give it to Giannis.
In that order?
Yeah. Oh no. I'd go Luka, KD, and Giannis.
Yeah, I would go.
Actually, no, I'd go Giannis, KD. Oh, I don't know. That's tough. I don't
Yeah,
know.
MVP is really tough this year. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
don't know.
It is really
But
tough.
I have those three: Giannis, KD, and Luca. Not in order though. I don't know what because they're all pretty much the same. It's just which one you like more.
Yeah. I think. Damn. I'll probably go Luca 1, KD 2, Giannis 3.
It's crazy because Giannis is averaging like 34 right now. He's averaging some crazy number, dude. I'm like, what?
I think it's because it's
It's
the
like,
Bucks, and we know that they're a top 3 team every year. And with the
yeah.
Nets, they came from like the 10th seed, 11th seed this year, and KD's really taken off. So that's a bit more entrenched in our mind. And the Celtics are still like the 1 seed, and we're not even talking about Tatum in MVP conversations like that. But he's still in the top 5.
He was in there. He wasn't. He's still in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you have Ja ranked in the MVP. Do you have him in there or
Yeah, probably like 6th, I guess.
6? All right.
Because Jokic still got to be up there too, man.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say. You probably have Jokic at 4 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. I think that is a wrap.
All right.
On episode, I really should look at what episode this is that we're filming before we go in, so I know. You know, I can say that's a wrap for episode. I think it's 6. I think it's 6. I'm gonna say 6.
6. All right.
I could be wrong, but that is a wrap for episode 6. Thank you everybody for joining. Brian, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, you too, man. Have a great time.
Thank you. We will catch y'all next week.
Next week, yes, sir.